Y'all breathing? After missing a couple Thursdays, a lot of people were like, fuck it, I'm not even coming. And a lot probably actually forgot. So we got a small, intimate group for now, including Barbara Hatwell's illuminated plant. And with a small, intimate group like this, everybody can kind of feel like, ooh, it's just us. Right? There's a little bit of that. Wait, not so many faces, not so many issues. So I just want to do a quick disclaimer. For 16 days, I was either flying or sitting with somebody or somebody's all day. The one-on-one days just kept going and going and going, and I had like, I think maybe 8 booked. Ended up for 16 straight days, I was flying or sitting with somebody all day. And I got home last night. My flight got delayed like, I think 7 times. So whatever time I got home last night, I was already delirious, and I was so gonna sleep 12 hours, and I so woke up on fucking East Coast time this morning. So darn you East Coasters. Love to blame Carol for that. So just everyone's clear that I will probably not remember that I did this. So anything that I say, I'm not responsible for. And sometimes when I'm this delirious, the stuff that comes through, there's less Brian to filter it. Hey, Andrea, so it might be even awesomer. All right, now you know why I look like this. And if I say weirder shit than normal, you'll know why. I'm okay with it. If you feel me looking at you, that's because I'm looking at you and you're feeling. Think about that for a minute. Either I'm really seeing different, or some of you are looking extremely different. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7. 8 of us on video were at the event in Florida, which was in the middle of those 16 days that I just told you about. So there was a couple of days of travel, a few days of one-on-ones, then the 2-day event, which was morning till evening, pretty well packed for 2 days. Then all those other one-on-ones. Some of you that are sitting looking at me right now were in some of those one-on-one days, and a couple of you right there at the very end. So this is me after that many days of nothing but that, with you after some of you have done more of that than you've ever done. And there's more people on right now who had condensed compressed, intense time with me, with each other, and with this work more than any. The percentage of people on that are under those circumstances are the highest it's ever been on any group call ever. So the energy on here, and the different us's, the differentness of those us's, I would say more than any previous session. There's some nods going on from people that were there. Deanna and Christine, Julio, Natalie. I don't want to put anybody on the spot. Fortunately, it's impossible to do so. I just want to ask, and as always, we don't have, I don't have to say this, so I'm going to. We don't have peer pressure. We don't have trying to make anybody feel good. We don't have, he's asking me a question. Well, I'm supposed to think, what does he want from me right now? No, just present recognition. If you want to nod or shake your head, or if you want to say something, I'm being really serious about this. Do you feel, see, notice, or sense any significant difference in the faces you're seeing that you know were at the event or that I said? Are you noticing that already or no? Is there anything? Got a nod from Julio, something of a nod from Deanna. Pretty strong. Okay, that's 100%. Take a really good look. And if you haven't been until I've said this, gotcha, Natalie. If you haven't been looking and noticing it intentionally up until now, or if you have, really start doing it now. Really take a look. Rosemary was there. Peter and Elka were there. Barbara, John, Elaine was there. Andrea was there. Carol was there. And strangely, I was there. I was somewhat there for most of it, at the very least. Take a good look at the faces, and you can pick up everything that happened from the last time you saw me. You can pick it all up through all these faces and through the vibes. What you might want to do, everybody that wasn't at the event, as we're going through this session, you might want to click on the views, the buttons up at the top, right top of your screens. You got speaker view and gallery view and all these options. You might want to go to gallery view where you can see everybody, and then pick someone who you know was at the event. You can feel their vibe just by looking at their video. Double click on it and have them fill up your screen and just watch them for a little bit. You dig? You didn't miss a damn thing. You didn't miss a damn thing. There's no thoughts about that. A couple people messaged me with feeling something like that. You know who you are. A couple you didn't message me, and you know who you are. You felt, oh man, she was at the event. That would have been, you didn't miss nothing. You can't lose anything, and you don't miss anything. You had the exact experience you had. And at the same time, since this interests you and you're here, you might as well soak it up. Then you even less missed it. So who that was at the event and or did a day or more with me, who feels like saying something? Rich, were you swatting something or were you saying you? I unmuted you, man.
Oh, I thought you just said who was at the event and or did a day with you, and then.
And would like to, and feels like you would like to express something about it. Andrea, what a shocker that you would step up.
Aloha, everybody. I'm so thrilled to see all of you guys. Oh my God. We were just here a while ago enjoying the park and being in and out of these homes, and the tranquility and the serenity of the atmosphere that I have available here right in my backyard is amazing. Peacefulness, lots of trees. We have a park right outside of my home and the two event homes, which are Airbnb rentals. So the feel was that of an estate. I'm in a dead-end street and cul-de-sac. And so there's no through traffic. Nobody drives past the houses further up the street from me. So we had an incredible opportunity and took advantage of that as well, of immersing ourselves, being fully immersed in this experience. We provided food, and so people did not have to leave unless they really wanted to. So it was not that we broke for lunch and had our lunch break and then busied ourselves getting into cars and getting to the next sandwich shop. So all that was provided, and that in itself allowed for a seamless interaction between all of us while we were having lunch or breakfast, as it may have been, and then going right back into the work. I felt no different than when I'm at Brian's house, to where we have a session, we have time together and work intensely, and then we take a break and have some food and such. So, and that I feel created and then of course the intention that we set, I created and we created together the third day, which preceded Brian's 2 days, which was called the Prep and Chill Day. So everybody arrived on Thursday. Prep and Chill Day was Friday. Saturday and Sunday were the days with Brian. And I thought the Prep and Chill Day was an excellent idea to have everybody come to presence and leave travel behind, leave family and whatever else was happening in their lives behind, push the pause button and just relax and unfold and go, I'm here, I'm present, I'm ready to set my intention and be focused. And we played all of the modules from the Conscious Creators program for everybody. So you all were sitting there for hours listening to the Conscious Creators modules and taking all that in. And not everybody who was at the event actually had access to the Conscious Creators program up until now. So to some people, this was completely new material. So how cool is that? Hi, Debbie. How cool is that to have that as the perfect prep to move into the 2 days with Brian? And I recorded, the recording from the event isn't up yet. However, I recorded on my phone myself because I just love doing those things. And oh my God, the vibe I got from this, and everybody really came together as a piece of the whole puzzle unit and locked arms. And I felt the unity as much as I felt a unity, for instance, with a church choir or something like that. Everybody was completely in tune with each other. Everybody was present. And oh my God, the breathing, I was just over the moon about the breathing, to hear everybody else breathe. And I would say to myself, oh my God, these people are really doing what Brian says to do and what I do. So all that added so much to the feeling of oneness And there was a point, I just listened to that last night. The last time we had our lunch break on the second day, and then until we finished was almost a 3-hour recording. And Brian went into some spell breaking with several of you. And the unity of everybody, I felt everybody had stepped up and wanted some of this. Maybe that wasn't the case on the first day. However, towards the end of the second day, everybody was there and said, I want this. I want to get as much all the freedom that I came here to get. And that vortex that we created with crystals, with some of my paintings, which are extraterrestrial devices, healing devices, we created a vortex where all this was so awesomely facilitated. So, and I got shivers from listening to that last night, how much unity there was, how much synchronicity, how much everybody was just a piece of the puzzle fitting in perfectly, and everybody got what they came for is my impression that I had. And I would like to add something personal, if I may, Brian. Yes? Okay.
Everybody's just fully present. Nobody's waiting for the good shit or anything, right? Everybody is seeing what's in front of them and choosing to be present and absorbing it without interpreting it or waiting or why is this. Just making sure and encouraging and nudging towards that for anyone who might not have been 100% choosing that. I suggest it highly. Okay, Andrea.
All right. So since then I've had a experience that I could call a challenge if I wanted to. However, through this experience, I was able to access the place where I normally would go up until then, which was the place of my most constraint and my most immense pain and suffering, which was to not wanting to be here, to wanting to kill myself, to looking up ways to kill myself on the internet, to just really wanting to check out. And I created a situation for myself that was similar to other ones that I had created for myself, where I would go into this deep dive of just rock bottom. And this time, I no longer had that reaction. And this has been going on for days now, and it has to do with money and liquidity, and I can't even dive into this anymore because it's no longer there. And this was some of the most important reason for me that I came with Brian 5 years ago and started this work. That space of where I totally fell apart and had those thoughts and wanted to take those actions, it no longer exists. It's no longer there. I feel whole. I feel complete. I feel that whatever is going on is on the outside of me. It no longer is happening within me, and it has absolutely no meaning, no relevance, and no longer any effect on me. And I'm having happy days going about my business and going, okay, being curious, okay, and how is this going to work out this time? And where am I ready to notice and going into my tools? However, like I said, one of the main reasons why I came with Brian and an incredible, deep-seated sorrow and fear has been totally removed as if it were never there. And this is earth-shattering and groundbreaking for me to be able to experience that and have the validation of, okay, this stuff can happen in my life and I no longer fall apart, and that's no longer in me and it's no longer existing. So maybe that's my Christmas gift I gave myself, and now I'm ready to move on. Peace.
Thank you, Andrea. Is there more?
Well, I mean, you are totally and completely amazing. Kate, Rich, and I have created this event for you with the intent in mind to have this be totally hands off for you. So all you have to do is show up and wave your magic wand and do what you do. And I enjoyed providing everything I provided for the group, and I did so joyfully and without stress and drama. And if there were stress and drama, I just bypassed the whole situation as if it weren't happening, and I'm very proud of that within myself. I want to thank Kate and Rich for all of your participation, and Carol as well. Carol participated. I also had help with the food preparation. Everybody stepped up to do their part. And Brian the man is on fire. The man is, I think about this so much on a daily basis. You are just, you're just incredible. You are just, I can't even put it into words. You seem to come from a more compressed, and maybe that's not the correct word. You have, I'm sure, released so much of your own non-me that your essence is so compressed like a ball of fire, and you just sending out little tidbits, little jelly beans here and there as is appropriate. And then all of a sudden there's the whole fireworks, which we experienced at the event. You are truly amazing, and I'm in awe of your capacities and capabilities and your friendship. Apart, other than you being my mentor, I value that tremendously, and your wit and your jovialness and interacting with everybody so lightheartedness and joyfully outside of the actual work is totally amazing. And you are just becoming more and more present and focused and relevant to what's going on with every fucking body who's in front of you, including a group setting like this. So I'm so curious and so looking forward to everything else that's on your way. So thank you I'm grateful and thankful for the idea that has used me, that I was able to start this event and plant the seed with you, Brian, in May. And I kept saying throughout the event, I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to say anything. And that would have been the old me who would have said, nah, I don't want to deal with people I don't want to put on an event. Hell, who wants to do that? Not me. And that in itself is such a profound change for myself, that I stepped up and said, yes, I want to do this. I want to do this for Brian. I want to do this for myself. I want to do this for all the people who are coming, who said yes to this. And I joyfully and easily did this. So that was amazing for me, that a year or two ago, I would have not talked to Brian about this and suggested this. And I was the one who suggested. Brian took in and said, yes, of course. However, that in itself was totally amazing. And now to see the changes, Elaine, for instance, Elaine and Rosemary, they were so out of it after their one-on-one experience, okay? And I can relate, because that was me, my first visit in Hawaii. I was so out of it, I could not get on a plane when I was supposed to. So Brian allowed me to stay a few extra days for my field to settle. And I saw that in them, and they were just, I knew they needed their rest, and I knew they needed to integrate and allow all this to settle within themselves. And then Carol had an amazing breakthrough, and so did Debbie. Oh my goodness. And John as well. And Peter and Alka. Oh my God, yes. Yes. Oh my God. And Barbara, yep. Barbara had her releases, and just such a lovely, lovely soul. Barbara, I love you so much, and I can't wait to come to Glastonbury sometime. It's on my list now. Just yeah, so thank you, Brian, for having been here. And I feel maybe you planted a few roots of yours yourself. I felt you enjoyed Sarasota. I feel you felt very content here, and maybe you would want to extend this as your mainland base at some point. The weather most of the time is not that much different from Hawaii. So yeah, amazing changes with anybody who had a one-on-one. And also Esther is not on here. Esther came to the event, and I felt that she stretched herself to allow herself to come. And that girl had major breakthroughs. She's not even close to being the same. Absolutely not. She just accepted the download, and it was in her right away, and she expressed it and is still expressing it all over the place. So I am so happy for her and grateful that happened as well for her. And we missed everybody else who couldn't make it. There might very well be another time, so stay tuned.
Thank you, Andrea. That might be the most awesome experience for me that I've ever had after I asked somebody, is there more? I'm so glad I did. So much there I could respond to you, Andrea, so much. And everybody, so many things I could point at and underline and expand upon or expound upon or somehow dig into and spin off things that she just said. And at the same time, one of the things I feel most is to simply focus on telling you to go back and watch the replay of this and just hit rewind right now from the minute she started and be completely present to everything she said, running through, totally independent of any words that she said. An emotional tone running through from the second she started speaking until not really when she stopped, because look at her face right now. She's still saying it. And if you pick up that tone and that vibe in her, it cannot but reflect that vibe in you, which she is already. And it's in you because you do believe she's outside of you to some extent. So I'm just so in this. I'm not going to think at all. I'm just flowing with whatever I'm inspired to say. I always am, just more so right now. No plan, the intention's already set. So whatever flows out of it will carry and emanate and express and embody that intent. Andrea, in addition to everybody, you were listing all the people benefiting from that event. And there was a group that you didn't speak, which is everyone who will ever see this video and the event videos. Everybody who ever sees them. That's probably a great multiple of numbers more than were at the event. The number of people who will see those event videos. And they'll all be as completely blessed and benefited, encouraged and opened and transformed. And you dig? You know what I'm saying? Okay. I'm gonna stay focused in there a bit. Rex, Mary, Bridget, everybody who wasn't at the event physically, physically wasn't at the event. So you're convinced you weren't. And you're right. But only because you believe it. You were totally there. And right now, you're there. And one evidence of it is the faces that you see that were there and still are there. And now look at, they're there. Hey, Christy. Welcome. By soaking up the vibe of everybody that was at the event, soaking up what they soaked up. It's all already in you. If the universe is your body and the universe is the reflection of the projection of everything you think of, you know, the vast majority, it's already in you. But again, most of us don't always consciously believe that because we very unconsciously know strongly otherwise. Anybody with me at all right now? Over the last couple of months, I have spoken about and referred to Andrea several times, invited her to talk about her perspective on some of those things, especially the focus of so many sessions and so many one-on-one days. What the effect of that can be on someone who's really, 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 really wanting to experience their freedom, which is part of why, a prime mover of why so many one-on-one days, right? So I'm not saying it's the multiple days as much as I'm saying that it is the desire and the intention that she has. I'm really sitting here mostly asleep, everybody. I started the session by telling you that. I want to make sure you know that. So I'm checking in as best I can with as much of me as is sitting up right in front of you. And I'm also speaking from a very different place. I don't know how well it's connected. I'm just looking at faces the best I can. I have spoken many times about how much work Andrea and I have done, and I've spoken about her as an example of this shit working at the level it's working for her. Not necessarily more than you, definitely different than you. And some of you could say more. I used to live in hell pretty much 24/7 as I perceived it. And then I learned some things and I unlearned some things where I started having a few seconds of relief every year or month or week or day or hour, a few seconds here and there. Now I live the majority of the time in heaven with the occasional perception of upset and the knowledge that I can meet the upset, meet it, bring presence to it, and get through it. I didn't used to have that. Anybody relate? Okay. I went from 24/7 unpreferred, to say the least, to a few seconds every now and then of relief. Ah, something working. Jesus, I'm not being attacked on all sides by monsters. few seconds. That was my perception. To this curve gradually, and then January 2011, sitting by the pool. And then, since then, don't ever think that that's it. Ever since then, I was just exercising my wrist. Did you guys think I was explaining something? I've been having a... The jokes are even worse when I'm like this. Man. Yes, worse is in quotation marks. So one of the things about listening to me, for those of you who actually do sometimes, to whatever extent you do, a reason for listening based on the intention we all have here, fairly well shared, experiencing more of our infinite, unlimited being, dissolving the illusion of problems, stepping into life as an infinite, unlimited being, remembering our perfection, waking up, blah, blah, blah. With that intention, if I were you, I would be looking at the dude I was listening to, or the chick I was listening to, or whatever the hell I was listening to, the non-physical being that's being channeled, whatever. I would be looking at how it's working for them. I would be looking for consistency in their speaking of it. And then I would be hoping and looking for consistency in their living of it and application of it. And they're talking about it. I'd be looking for that. And I would so be looking for evidence that it was working, that there was something real to it, that it was actually not just consistently spoken about, not just consistently spoken about and lived, consistently spoken about, consistently lived and applied and modeled and fucking working. Holy shit. I mean, damn, that would be a first for most of us. And I would also be looking, assuming somewhere, somehow I found that consistency in the speaking of it, the consistency in the application and living and modeling of it, and if fucking working, I would also be looking. Anybody curious? Anybody curious? Yeah, it's working. It's working. Connected. I'm not gonna tell you. That lets me know how much you really want it. Because if I don't see disappointment, then I know you were just trying to make me feel good. Yeah, they were just trying to make me feel good. I would also be looking. Why does this matter? Why does this matter? What the hell is he talking about? What do you be looking for? First, Andre was talking. Now he's like, anybody with me? Anybody present? Anybody tuned in? Man, if you're waiting for the good shit, you will miss it. That thing Andrea just said, that I am in her eyes, the way she sees me. If and when I was interested in stepping into my freedom, and if and when I found an example like that, and I would be looking at those things, looking for those things that I just said, consistent speaking of it, it's the message stays, like I can rely on it, even as it develops and expands, and sometimes I sense it way more. I can tell the message ain't changing. This is coherent, congruent, consistent. Then that consistent application, because what is it worth really if I on one session said blah 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 that I've been saying, the next session I said how everything was bad and we should all be worried, and how can that, if there's not consistency, like fuck it, nothing to it if it's not consistent. I feel like exploding this into full 4 or 5 or 6D. If I was wanting to live that freedom and I encountered an example of it, I would want them to be speaking consistently about it. I would have more faith in it and in them. And in the position that I'm in when I'm first starting that journey, I don't need any of that. But I might feel safer seeing consistency. I might feel I can trust it a little bit more. I might feel that it's more real, more valuable, more trustworthy to listen to and follow along with. Then if I saw the consistency of application, wow, the trust, wow, this might actually be something. There might be something here worth following and listening. Why is it that I see the ones who actually have made the biggest financial and time investment into this self-help journey are the first to nod as I'm talking about this? I wonder if there's a connection. Then the consistent application with the consistent speaking of it. Then seeing it work. Now I'm starting to pay attention here. I want that, and I have like this, all the evidence is piling up here. This is, maybe I can trust this. Maybe this will work. Maybe this actually is the deal. And then if I saw it working, oh, this person who's talking it and talking it consistently and consistently talking and applying it and modeling it and living it, showing examples of it, and it's, from all I can see, is consistently working. And then I went to the event with him, and I was there with him like for fucking 14, 16 hours, whatever it was. Except for those of you then who before or after did a day with me, more hours. And it, like Andrea said, wow, I'm seeing this consistent thing, and it's consistently working, and the joviality, some of those words you used. Okay, so it's working and it's creating results, and it's consistently working and creating results. Man, I'm just, wow. Okay. And then when I paused a couple minutes ago and said, I feel like going even deeper into this, I started teasing you about the fourth thing that I would be looking for. Anybody have any idea what it might be? The funny thing is that you absolutely do. And the second I say it, you're going to be like, what? Of course. What the fuck? Oh, Rosemary's hand is up. It was kind of like this, Rosemary. Let me see. Second, yeah. All right. All right. Now, the winner of this does get a cookie. So if you're on, you get the cookie. And if your guess is wrong, Rosemary, no cookie today.
No cookie. Okay, well, the first thing that came to my mind is, does it work for other people as well?
Fucking A. First thing that came to mind. Thank you. You want to add anything to that?
No.
Thank you. Honey, get her address. We got to send her a cookie. Whoops, I had muted you. Rosemary, say again.
I said, tell her to send the one that she was showing on Facebook yesterday.
Oh, is that the one I ate?
That looked delicious.
I ate it. I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
We'll see if there's another one of those.
Okay, thank you.
I got home to that. All right. One of those. I will vouch for it. You do want it. If you're gonna have a cookie, you want that one. So what did you think? What did you feel? Did you not have the biggest, because everybody looked at me blank. Did you have the biggest fucking duh ever when she said that? I look for what he's saying. Is it consistent day to day to day? Is he actually, okay, is he actually living? Is it working for this motherfucker? Or, did he find out how to effectively sell personal development bullshit? Because there is an industry. Let's be sure of it. I'd be looking for, is that shit working for anybody else at all? What about having certainty that the person you're choosing at the moment, for those of us who would choose such things, what if you were sure beyond the shadow of a doubt, beyond any reasonable doubt at least, that the person you're going to, at least for now, for help in the area of stepping into your infinite being, living that the universe is energy, transforming your paradigm to the actual truth from the Newtonian, waking up, escaping the matrix, dissolving the illusion of problem, stepping into your infinite unlimited being, all those things. If that's what you were wanting, if that's what you're intending, and then you found this person, and what they were doing was saying it consistently, and the saying of it, wow, that really works. I really get the application, the results for them. The next thing, absolute unshakable evidence that the people who are using it are getting results, or some of them are getting real results. Even if this was the first minute you ever heard me speak, if you saw those 4 things beyond the shadow of a doubt, boom, done. I want more of that. Yes? And there's a 5th thing that I wouldn't even be looking for. I probably wouldn't even think to look for it. And yet I would be looking for it with every cell in my being. You see that, chat? Yep. There's a 5th thing. Anybody want to guess? Anybody got a? Well, there's no really guessing. You either feel it and you know it, or you don't. All right, Rich. I don't know if you saw the cookie that Rosemary was talking about, but it's a wantable cookie. If there was a, so if you're gonna step up and do this, man, if you're wrong, you are not getting the cookie, bud. Let us be clear. Better be right, because there is right and wrong, and you know it. What you got, man?
Is it applicable to me, and can I do it?
Okay, you know what? I have to give you half a fucking cookie for that. Because that ain't the thing. However, you just identified and expressed one of the core drivers, one of the core operators inside of us that would lead and cause and inspire us to be focused on these things that I'm listing. You dig? Absolutely. Can I apply this? Like, well, it should work. That is why, that whole thing right there is why you'd be looking at, wait, is it, because I want to know if it'll work for me, if it's applicable, if it's applicable to me and it'll work for me. Let me see then. Is it consistent? The message is consistent. I can follow it and comprehend it. Yes. Because you see this connection. Okay. Number 2 is the person actually speaking it. Those are going to be trust factors in, can I apply this? Will it work for me? All the way up the line. Thank you, buddy. You get a half a cookie. It's better than nothing. Cookie was too big for me anyway. So, Carol dares. And we know the only thing Carol likes more than camels is cookies. So let's. Oh, he got one even in his sleep. I am proud of myself right now.
Okay.
All right, what you got, Carol?
Is it sustainable? And will it, in other words, I get results, but do they last?
Okay. You get the other half of the cookie that Rich just got. I see those as motivators for why I'm looking for these other things. So he listed a core motivating driver, and you don't have to take my word for it. We're going to see. All right. Okay. Love you, Carol. Get their addresses. Huh? You know the chocolate icing in the middle, you have to actually cut that in half because they were so like right in the same place. All right, so here's that next thing. I would be watching to see. You don't need me to list. You've been paying so much attention. You've been so present. You don't need me to list them. So I'm going to list them again. Speaking it. Is the speaking it consistent? Applying it and living and modeling it as much and consistently as they were speaking. Results. Results working. Consistent results. Working for anybody else. Anybody else that I can see. One fucking person that lets me know, okay, possibility. Next. The longer and further that they immerse in it, Do the results continue? Are they continuing to progress in it as they stay in it? Or did they like, okay, they did it, now it works and they're done? Can you see motivations for that? Reasons why that would be super relevant, and that I will bet you all a small package of those cookies. I bet you all that that was running in the back of your mind, so to speak, on some level the whole time. And if you check in, one of the things I'm aiming to do right now, I agree, Peter, it means there's no ceiling. Peter Nelka. I would bet you cookies that while Andrea was talking, those factors were all running in you, whether you're aware of them or not. And on one level, what I'm aiming to do is sell you on going back and watching every single word Andrea said on this session with those filters conscious. Is the saying consistent that the guy's doing, or the chick, me in this case? Is the application? Is it working for him? Seeing the results, working for other people? And the further they go in it, are they continuing to get results, or does it like top out? Is there a point of diminishing returns? See if it was running. What you got, John?
Well, I just wanted to say, not only do we watch and see that you live it, you just shared, when things weren't going well for you, how you consistently went further and loved the situation and stayed in it and shared it with all of us.
Yep. Beautiful. And now for me, that one falls under, is he living it in an ongoing way? And yeah, you made that very explicit. Agreed. Thank you, brother. Aloha V. When I started the session and I was looking at all of y'all, I noticed several people that I sat with over the last couple weeks at the event and or one-on-one. I noticed faces that were so different looking and feeling to me. I was kind of stunned. Of course, in the state that I was at when I started this session, if I had noticed this rock near me, I would have been stunned, because I was kind of, but still, I was stunned. I was really amazed, and I still am. The extent of calm, centered, peaceful, confident, safe that some of you are embodying. And a couple others went home to extreme not wanted. Just want to acknowledge that for a couple of people. And they would like probably to be having a very different conversation right now. And I'm here for that too. And I'm really feeling to focus on what I'm focusing on. Seal all of that up with a nice little bow. There's that. Now, what I'm saying now refers to all of that. Beyond the bow too. A specific thing that Andrea said about a major significant change in her, where something that was I'm going to say a few words that she may or may not. You're welcome to, Andrea, clarify. I feel like I probably got you 99.999%. A chronic habitual vibratory situation frequency set that's been running in her since, at the very least, early childhood. Ever present, ever unenjoyable, with some deep sadness and perhaps fear, and perhaps the illusion of anger coming off of that helplessness and hopelessness from that level of sadness and fear, around having enough, being safe, to the point of not wanting to live more of the time than wanting to live, rather than it being a casual occasional thought about ending it. Like, that was chronic. Fuck, it ain't worth it. I don't want to be here. I'm going to be here. All the times you've heard me and Andrea refer and or discuss her changes and how far she's come and how serious she is. The fact that I'll fucking sit with her for a day and she will spend the next 3 days sitting and writing every fucking word of the recording from start to finish out, every word, and then select the parts that mean the most to her and create questions around them and play the fucking recording for the next 3 days or month. Okay, fanatic. I guess if you strip away all the connotations, when I discovered that there was something I could do in my life that would actually change the fucking hell that I had been living in, when I found that out, I became fanatic about self-help. I became fanatic about waking up. I became fanatical, if you prefer. I don't give a shit. About applying myself to the dissolution and the dissolving of the illusion of problems and being able to live it. Fanatic. I see quite a bit of that in Andrea. And I know neither one of us wanted to be here. So we probably had at least as strong as is common motivation, desire, and inspiration to get into something that might help to change that. Or a powerful small handgun with a real high-powered bullet. We're going to invest in one of those two. One moment, Andrea. I'm going to stay with this rant, and I'll remember your hand is up too. For her to say this thing is completely gone, I'm looking for it. I can't even dive into it. It's so, all the things that I moved, all the things that I ever moved, all the things that came up and handled, this got loved and that got loved, and then dozens, hundreds of individual octopi or bricks in the wall, whatever, inner child that was frozen in a situation that got set free. All the models that we can speak of, all the levels that we can talk about what's happening. You've been watching it. You've been seeing it. You've been hearing it yourself. Seeing it as an ongoing, and most of you have heard quite a bit of the history of it with her over around 5 years. So holding that in your awareness, after all that, this time, that whole theme that had been inside and running behind and woven in with all the things that she's dissolved, resolved, and loved back into infinite possibilities. Now the most significant, long-running set of pains, absolutely, utterly, completely dissolved, and she's free of it, and it ain't there. She can't even find it. If you let that in for yourself, rather than sitting and continuing to nurse the thought, well, that shit doesn't work for me. I wish it did work for me. Well, I'm glad it worked for somebody. Oh, but yeah, I bet it really didn't work that much for her. Brian's probably paying her a commission. Whatever you were thinking, you were letting part of your mind go down these arenas and these old areas rather than being fully present to what she's saying, if you will go back and listen to what she said, with total 100% presence and curiosity and openness, and let what she's really saying, that again has nothing to do with any of the words she said, although it does. The words ain't necessary for you to pick up the vibe and what's behind it. I'm almost ready for you, Andrea. When she says that she did this event without stress and drama, those of you that have heard a few times that allusion to that phrase from the past, you know why she said it, and that's why this time I didn't stop her and interrupt her. Everybody that's on right now live, at least, not everyone that watches the replay necessarily, but everybody who's with me right now, you guys have all heard allusions to that phrase, stress and drama. She believed it was stress and drama in things that she wanted and in things that she needed in order to survive as a human. There was stress and drama in them. I would say that everybody on the planet that isn't 100% awake feels that to some extent. You could use those words and stretch them to fit. Some of what I want, there's stress and drama in it. There's shit I don't want in some of what I want. In other words, when you go to focus on what you want, you come face to face with everything you place between yourself and that. Well, she just went through it to where doing the event itself is something she never in a trillion years would have wanted to do. Had she been asked to do it, she would have either hurt the person who said it or run from them as fast as she possibly could. One of the two. I'm telling you, she would. You think there's any possibility that there's a connection between this, Andrea? The feeling isn't there anymore, and you just did that event and the build up to it. There could be some juxtaposition for us to notice the synchronicitous interrelationship of those things, perhaps. Everybody. All right. Everybody, don't wait for the good shit. What you got, Andrea?
Just very quickly, I feel as if I'm experiencing true freedom for the first time. And this primary constraint that I had, I've traced it back to the womb and beyond. And so it had infiltrated everything, every aspect and every area of my life. And when I first came with Brian,
Andrea, hang on a minute. There's a significantly valuable diamond mine in something you just said that for your benefit, for everybody's benefit, it's important for me to reflect this. You know where you are, and you know that you're not going to lose where you were. You know exactly what you were saying and where you're coming from. I just want to really illuminate something here. What mechanism did it use to infiltrate all of those places? And just breathe and please don't answer. You know how those, I'm talking to you now if you hear my voice. You know how those ideas just leap out at you sometimes. What legs did they use exactly for that? You know how that realization struck you that time? Remember when it just struck you, just like, oh, and you were bleeding and the police report was vague because you don't know how to explain it to them either. You know how sometimes the bad news just is crushing? Everybody caught on, or do you need a couple more metaphors? Because I got lots, and I mean, I would just keep spinning them out. Okay. So this is so subtle. And it's easy for us to think subtle means small and insignificant, like splitting hairs, but that only is a reflection of the fact that we may be not tuned in to how significant it was significantly it was affecting us, how many things it was involved with, blah, 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 blah. So when we say, oh, it struck me, hit me like a ton of bricks when I realized this. Did anything get broken? Did you need medical care? Ton of bricks hitting you. Now, a feeling of pain and sadness infiltrating. I'd be scared to fucking death if that could happen. I would feel so fucking unsafe, and I would, like everybody else. So we're moving now into even more subtle awareness of what I've been speaking evidences what I've been thinking and believing that I know. So, I say the model of the universe that I use is, you never heard this one before. It's the reflection and the projection of everything we think and believe that we know, the vast, vast, vast majority of which is hidden from us by us, much of which is tangled up with emotions we do not want to fucking feel. Andrea, you just told me, you just let me know. In one way of speaking, one of your little girls just let me know. In some aspect, some part of you believes that these things have power on their own. They can sneak in. They can infiltrate against my will and perhaps without me even knowing. I mean, that's a lot like having a 40-foot python slither sneakily into your sleeping bag while you're asleep. You know what I'm saying? To become aware of what I've been saying so that I can become aware of what I was thinking. Because never once has a word accidentally tripped and fell out of my fucking mouth. Not ever, not once. The English language. This thing you and I are playing with right now, Andrea, and being that there's only one here, you, I could imagine someone that's never looked at level 5, someone that's never heard a minute of this. Imagine there was a group of however many of us, almost 20 of us, 17 of us that are here right now, and nobody but me and Andrea had ever talked about this topic before. Everybody else, none of you guys were here, unless you were just sitting watching as a fly on the wall. Everybody here hadn't heard any of this, and she said what she said, and I started to say what I was saying. How alien would that be to them? What the fuck is he? What? She was just a figure of speech. Well, wait. You mean you can take speech and make figures out of it, if you did, then for the rest of your life, you'd have to deal with those figures.
Hmm.
They might attack. They might infiltrate. They might slither into your sleeping bag in the dark, silently. Becoming aware of what I said. While I'm on my way to mastering presence of what I say, being cognizant of what I just said, I'm bringing some presence to it just in retrospect. Then I get to find out what I think and believe that I know that was hidden from me by me. Sometimes when I speak, I'm speaking from my infinite, unlimited being. The rest of the time, I'm speaking from programming, past pain paradigms, perpetually. So if I notice what I said and I look at it with presence, I can hear, poetically and literally speaking, what the little one inside of me or the little ones inside of me are thinking and believing about this situation. And I can meet them there. So, Andrea, let's, if you will, close your eyes and say, that feeling had infiltrated every part of my life.
That feeling had infiltrated every part of my life.
Feel what's going on in your body, your mind, sensations in the guts. And if you will, just give yourself a little shiver. And if you will, feel your body respond as you say, up until now,
Up until now,
those feelings had infiltrated every part of my life.
those feelings had infiltrated every part of my life.
As I see it, you're moving through this at light speed, Andrea, partially as a reflection of this as being a continuation of the last several days. So give yourself a shiver. And bring to mind all of the shifts and awakenings and transformations and openings that have happened over the last 5 years, especially the last few months and especially the last couple of weeks. And just allow yourself to remember them and to know that you might still be expanding in all that right now. And if you will, say, up until now,
Up until now,
I perceived
I perceived
that feelings could infiltrate
that feelings could infiltrate
anything.
anything.
Actually, though, I don't know.
And I really don't know, actually.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So feel a world where feelings can infiltrate everything. And there's just no telling what they're going to do when they get there. And what if they keep infiltrating? What if there's parts of my life I don't know? What if they've already infiltrated there and they want to expand there? I want to run into those there too. And apparently I might have, I must have believed that on some level. Okay. Now imagine a world where feelings reflect on the net of gems. And poetically speaking, because everything's light, it's just light reflecting off of light. Some of the light is seemingly connected and collected and condensed as mirrors, but even the mirrors are just light reflecting light. So, and the possibility that it's all me, then of course feelings would be measurable and sensible. Feelings would be reflecting on every facet of every gemstone. Naturally, automatically, inherently, the feelings are there. They're going to be reflecting. Maybe viewing them as insidious, maybe viewing them as willful, having power outside of me that could somehow insinuate itself for reasons I don't know and in ways that I might not know. And so in this world, in this other world, way over, we just turn and face the right a little bit. In this world, feelings just reflect, and I understand it. They just reflect as an opportunity for me to see the reflection and choose whether I want to address it or not. Of course, every aspect of my life where those feelings have any relevance, they would be reflective and obvious. Just natural. Available for my attention and presence if I choose. Not hiding and not flaunting itself. It's just reflecting neutrally, naturally, as it does. So what's life like in a world where feelings can infiltrate and who knows what else they can do? And what's it like to step into a world where I feel things? And if there is a feeling there to be felt, I have the ability to feel it. It's not doing anything. It's not planning anything. It's not sneakily conspiring anything. I must have been hiding from my feelings, and I must not wanted to see those feelings. I must I could be curious about that. It's like maybe if I was trying to push those feelings away and then I kept feeling them, I would reach the conclusion that they were infiltrating against my will. Which then I would need to conspire more myself in order to be able to not have them infiltrate. Like the race between radar detectors and police radar guns. You know, the arms race. An arms race of how do I not feel this better, more skillfully? Oh, fuck, it's going to find more insidious ways to insinuate itself. And wow. What if I were to choose to welcome my feelings at all times, to be present to my feelings at all times? The only reason there's the possibility of welcoming them is because somewhere along the line I learned to not welcome them. I remember Brian said once something a few times about the number one skill, that crazy as it might sound, the number one skill that everybody has mastered is how to not feel their feelings. Number one skill, number one biggest energy investment most people make. That choice would create the perception of feelings sneaking back in. And I, at this moment, I'm not really seeing any other thoughts or conclusions that would create perception, or that would mirror and reflect more accurately as that perception. Ooh. Those of you that want multiple gold stars on your paper at the end of this program, I'd say just knock that shit off immediately and focus on the real thing. But I will really recommend that you watch this replay with your pen out. Maybe the first time, maybe the second time. And that last section that just happened right there with Andrea coming back on and me stopping her at that phrase. This is postgraduate level subtlety in the communication and understanding of the mechanisms. Yeah. So Andrea, when you're ready to either continue or change or alter directions a bit based on what I just reflected, whichever you prefer.
Yes, I prefer to continue. When I first came with you about 5 years ago, I had no clue why I really wanted to get involved with you and work with you. I just felt there were some things on the outer parameter that I had blinders on and couldn't see. And I had no clue at that point how much of my pain and suffering I had been hiding from myself. I was Miss Chipper Chirpy, conducting business, making lots of money. And then in the dark of night, when maybe something didn't go so well, that's when all strings came loose and I just had a meltdown and just cried uncontrollably when the stuff started to show up for me. And of course I would swallow it down and stuff it down and do what my aunt told me to do. Just don't cry and just stick it out through it and just be strong. So I had no idea these things were there and how much they influenced my life. Having believed what I believed in this primary constraint of mine of not wanting to be here. How would running out of money fit into that, right? Every few months, taking the dip down. Okay, well, if I don't want to be here, why would I want to have money in the bank and investments, homes purchased? Why would I want that, right? So, and that was all unbeknownst to me. I was experiencing the results of all that. However, the workings and how to actually go about this was completely unbeknownst to me. And all I knew was I wanted to work with Brian. And in the beginning, I was so reluctant. I wouldn't even come on video. There was a YouTube channel at the time, and I was always be on video. I mean, on the YouTube channel, because I didn't want anybody to see myself. I hated people. I didn't want to be around people. Now I realize I may have put on a facade whenever I was around people to keep up that bullshit. In reality, I didn't want to be around people. and I was very self-critical, self-judging. So that I took a while to actually come on camera, and then public speaking, which I've done plenty of in the past, had been a challenge for me up until a while ago. And I would I would think of what I wanted to say, write this out, and correct it 50,000 times, record myself, have 10, 20 recordings, and then pick the best one. I no longer have to do that. I feel I'm on as I'm intending to say something that I would like to contribute. So this whole area has tremendously opened up for me to actually, for me to be able to say my truth, since all this other bullshit has left me. And then the most monumental shift was really my first time together with Carol in Hawaii, when you took the lids off of this bullshit and then stuff started coming out, and I processed all of that. And that was the beginning of me realizing, oh shit, I have been wanting to kill myself, and I have not been wanting to be here. And that's when everything built on itself. And I have never stopped being amazed about what shows up and what I'm able to release and transform, and how much more of myself I am inviting back to myself, and that I am coming from interacting with anybody. So I feel I'm experiencing true freedom for the first time. And I'm realizing that freedom is not related to having $100,000 in my bank account or having $1 in my bank account. And I'm experiencing the freedom of actually laughing at that, seeing it for what it is, and feeling no different. I am the same happy, chipper self. So that outside circumstance no longer, I just have no more reaction to that. I feel solid and safe within myself, which is totally unbeknownst to me, to have that much feeling of safety around a situation that I considered extremely volatile and unsafe and life-threatening. And I no longer feel that way. I feel solid. I feel safe. I don't feel I need to be rescued. I don't feel I need protection. I can only say that this is the most significant gift that I've received in a long, long time. And the realizations from that, and the freedom to not have to respond to the bullshit, the freedom to stay in my truth easily and effortlessly. So.
Thank you, Andrea. All right, I'm going to mute, and I might unmute you. I might. Do you want to go further, deeper, effortlesser, magicaler, lover, into more of the preferred experience of love and joy and peace and freedom? Do you? Yeah? Okay. May I make a suggestion? Listen to me say this to Andrea as if I were saying it to you, because I am. No matter how far you perceive you've come, no matter how far you sometimes perceive that you haven't, things that haven't changed, I've talked many times about the way to heaven being focused on where you were and how far you've come, and keep reviewing those things over and over and over and over and over. That's a very important and essential aside to the point that I'm making right now. Andrea, when you said it was that the feelings were basically sneaking in to every part of your life, infiltrating, you said that. And I had you stop and look. I've alluded several times. I'm in the process of dropping a love bomb of such epic proportions. I'm already in the middle of it, and it's just woo. Whoever gets this, however much you let yourself get this, this will be extending the hologram that we've been talking about here for a while into whole other realms that we ain't discussed. How many words don't exist? How many topics are there that don't exist? How much awesomeness is there that I hadn't even thought about tapping into, even consider those realms were there? Andre, when I had you stop and look at that phrase and realize that even as you've come so far, and even as you're still going further, even as you're celebrating it, you get the opportunity to say something that reveals the next. And we're using the English language with this linear, like this and then this and this, not exactly accurate. I'm doing what I can do with these words. So hear me. Even as you're expressing the celebration of it, you get a chance to see the next realm of awesome, or you could catch yourself having said something wrong. And so as you notice what you said, which, wait a minute, fucking insinuating itself and like sneaking insipidly into every realm of my life. Wow. If I've still been believing that, I mean, look what I'm stepping into the freedom quote from right now. I'm stepping into so much more me. With that still present, what the heck, what kind of amazing, unbelievably joyful, loving, magical experiences will I be experiencing on the other side of the idea that those feelings ever could have snuck in or infiltrated? Like, holy shit, wow, I'm still doing it even while I'm celebrating it. I'm just getting another chance. And then 10x it, 10 times the awesomeness available by looking back at it as bullshit. When you get here, you might not need to, but you might benefit from it anyway. You pause right here and go back to the last. I'm going to make a guesstimate of about 8 minutes, 6-7 minutes that you were talking, and look at how many times you said the word bullshit, and look at how many times you referred to all the stuff that's not around anymore as bullshit, and how glad you're done with that bullshit, and how much that bullshit, and there's nothing to catch. It's nothing wrong. I'm never correcting. I'm always reflecting. So now to be where you are on the other side of those things and step into this and then realize, wait, and I was still thinking those feelings could actually like sneak in. I was thinking they had their, and I was still viewing it not as things that I loved and reintegrated with and stepped. I'm still to some extent viewing it as bullshit that I got away from, bullshit I got past. I'm a little scared that the bullshit and the feelings are going to together insidiously infiltrate everything. But actually now I'm not anymore. So I'm going to unmute you, Andrea.
Okay.
If you will say out loud, I'm in the process of putting all that bullshit behind me.
I'm in the process of putting all that bullshit behind me.
Hope everybody saw every one of those facial expressions. She tried to laugh so she wouldn't puke.
It doesn't feel too good.
No, I know exactly what you mean. You didn't feel very good saying that shit. It was so much so you wanted to make it a knit.
Yes.
Woo-hoo. So now everybody can get another relief if you want. The fact that she's come so far doesn't mean she's not slipping on some of these things sometimes. So every one of these that you get on the other side of, you're not on the other side of it anymore. So, Andrea, as subtle as that was, as subtle and non-threatening, and what a little nothing to say, I'm putting the bullshit behind me. Listen, you ask 99.9% of all the coaches in the world, they'll say, yeah, you go for it, girl. Slay it. Crush it. Put that bullshit behind you.
Yep.
And yet, when you said it, your soul went. All right. So give yourself a little shiver, if you will. And say, if you will, up until now,
Up until now,
I was in the process of putting all that bullshit behind me.
I was in the process of putting all that bullshit behind me.
Now I'm gonna stick my nose in your business a little bit. I'm gonna guess that probably feels better. That feels a little lighter, and yet it still doesn't feel as flowing, transparently, infinitely possible, yummy as you have sensed is available to you, or something like that. I'm using English again. So give yourself a shiver, please. Up until now,
Up until now,
I perceived
that
that I was in the process of putting bullshit behind me.
I was in the process of putting bullshit behind me. Wow.
I mean, what if I was to ever fall over backward? Is that what I really want to be doing, is putting bullshit behind me? What if I fall over backwards? That's not going to be. I guess it'll be cushiony, but if it's wet, I don't know what they've been feeding them cows. Okay, so it's not actually, like, you meant that. Somebody in you, you meant that shit, that you were putting it behind you. So let's do that one again, and we're going to shift it just a bit. Up until now,
Up until now,
I perceived
that
I was putting bullshit behind me.
I was putting bullshit behind me.
But looking behind me,
But looking behind me,
I don't think I was.
I don't think I was.
I might have been doing something else.
I might have been doing something else.
Up until now, I must have had a reason
I must have had a reason
to think that I needed to
think that I needed to
put bullshit behind me.
put bullshit behind me.
But maybe that was alienating myself from me.
Maybe that was alienating myself from me.
Sit with that for a couple minutes and breathe. Anybody that wants to.
Come out this way, come. Out the other way you go. Who wants to go outside? Anybody? Oh. You two, or are you staying here?
Have I ever been one to find fault? Have I ever believed in fault? Have I ever, I'm not asking about, I'm inviting you to ask these questions. Have I ever been one to find fault? Have I ever been one to be irritated towards other people? Have I ever been one to get irritated about events that happened and then be pissed off about them and not realize that everything that's happening is actually me? Happening for me? Has there ever been a moment when I had a lapse in my way? I'm asking you to ask yourself. Has there ever been a moment when I thought bad things were happening? Has there ever been a moment that I perceived as something that was happening as bullshit? Has there ever been a time when I thought that there was a problem or a wrong or a bad or anything like that that I needed to get rid of, dissolve, dismantle, demolish, shatter, obliterate, eliminate, nuke out of existence? If I do, might it be possible that if I'm thinking in those terms, then I would find myself constantly seeing that in reflected in the mirror in front of me? Molly. I see you, Molly. Hey, girl. Okay, so that is possible. It is possible that if I perceived, you could say that people, when they start self-help and they come into it with that fixing energy, I'm going to fix it. I bet some of you guys have still thought in those terms quite a bit. Some of you still have. Fixing things. I'm going to fix these things that are wrong with me. I'm going to fix these problems. When you do that, what you will continue to see reflected on the mirror in front of you is an endless stream of things to be fixed. It's almost like they multiply because of your intention. Similarly, if you're perceiving your life as putting the bullshit behind you, might you not find a stream of endless bullshit in the mirror in front of you? Uh-huh. The continuous expansion of presence. Although presence is always infinitely present everywhere, our perception as we step into presence, as we choose presence, is that, oh, if I'm present to more and more and more. Is becoming present to more of yourself the same as putting bullshit behind you? It ain't. It's a functional model for someone who believes they're in a universe that's real and physical, though. Is there anyone here right now who is not finding this helpful or beneficial in any way? Is there anyone? Really? Okay. Becoming present to the fact that up until now, I thought that I was putting bullshit behind me and that it was beneficial to put bullshit behind me and that I needed to put bullshit behind me in order to get where I want. Becoming aware that I was believing and perceiving that, becoming present to that, doesn't necessarily mean that it was bullshit and I'm putting the bullshit behind me. It means that I'm becoming present. So if you were forced with no other option than the dichotomy, if it were to ever be possible that someone could force you to a dichotomy where you had to choose between continuing a life of putting bullshit behind you or becoming ever more present to what actually is now, which would you pick? When? And to know that the ability is here, the freedom, the option right now, amidst all possibilities, the option to choose presence. All right, now let me fuck with Bridget for a minute. She didn't even say it, she typed it. I have a question that needs more level 5 depth. Did you consult with the question to be absolutely certain that it needs it? I mean, the question said to you, I need, as a question, more level 5 depth. I don't believe it. And my point is made. So, what is the question, Bridget?
I'm trying to understand.
Stop. Because I love you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you more.
I'm trying to understand exactly 4 words, just so that we all know that we're keeping consistent here. Is it a bridge that you're trying to understand? Are you
That's my name.
You're standing on a bridge. You're standing under a bridge, trying to understand it. To stand on, and what is keep preventing?
Yes, I am trying
you
to
so
understand
that you have to
myself.
You are going to suffer
That's
in
my
hell.
question.
You're going to suffer in hell forever as long as you try to do that. But the great news is that you don't have to try to do that for another second. So it's not like you're stuck there forever. It's just that as long as you're trying to do that, you'll be stuck in hell forever. As long as Andrea is trying to put bullshit behind her, she'll still be suffering in hell. Now, it might be a much more comfortable hell because of so many of the other pieces of furniture that she has already handled, and might be a more luxurious hell. It will not be the infinite, unlimited heaven that's available. And as long as you are trying to understand yourself, like, what are you going to do? Get shorter than you?
I'm kind of tall. I don't
Some of
know.
you, yeah, but stay with me now. Some of you actually are getting these horrible fucking jokes that I'm doing. Because the only way that you're going to understand yourself is if you get shorter than a bigger you and you have one of them bend over and you get under. That's the only way you're going to understand yourself. And I'm not joking, Bridget. I'm not joking.
I know you're not.
Okay.
I'm just,
So
my
you're on,
mind just went, whoa.
you're on your way, which will ever prevent you from realizing you're already there.
Oh,
So slow down, as always, and breathe deeper.
yeah, chill the fuck out.
Chill the fuck out and relax. Now you have chilled somewhat, and you have had some more comfort, and you've had some more relief, and you've had more relaxation. You had more. And I will say, without presumption or any kind of superiority or inferiority or any of that bullshit, I'm fairly familiar with where you're coming from.
Yes, you are.
Not only from having lived it myself, also from observing it and hearing it from so many people. And I can actually help you to experience what you would prefer to experience more efficiently and effectively, if you like. I mean, I'm fine with you taking however many minutes or days or hours or, it's all perfect. So slow down and breathe and let your hand move away so that you don't in any way tell your breath that it's not okay. Into your nose, out through your mouth, slowing it down, letting everything calm down. I would bet you $1 trillion and 17 trillion of those cookies that we were talking about. So the ante is going up as we get later into the session. If you were, these numbers are probably fairly pointless, but we can relate. If you were 30% more calm and relaxed and at peace right now than you are right now, the question that you want to ask me would change dramatically. Your perception of what it is that you want to ask would change dramatically. You would be finding yourself thinking and feeling a totally different question. So someone who just got one leg caught in a bear trap, the other leg is on fire, and they're being chased by 3 honey badgers. The question they want to ask is different than the person who's laying down with a full tummy, totally relaxed on their comfy mattress 5 minutes before drifting off into a yummy sleep. There's a different question, 2 different settings, 2 different situations. I could give about 8 billion more. I will let those 2 do the work for those who are paying attention to breathing. So depending on how you're feeling, the question you're going to ask is going to be very different. Well, being that I advocate and recommend presence and relaxation and coming from there, I will make you a wager that no infinite unlimited being feeling calm and relaxed would spend 1 second trying to understand themselves, and even less thinking that the question they wanted to ask was that they were trying to understand themselves.
It has to do with reflection.
Maybe, but it's not going to do you any good until you're calm enough to formulate the actual question that you really want. And if you really relax a little bit further than that, the question will be answered. That direction you're going in. Now, if you were to suddenly understand yourself, what would be different?
I would be free.
You sure?
Yes.
I'm going to offer to you that what you think you understand about yourself is your prison.
Mm.
And I don't want you to just have the epiphany. I welcome the epiphany, but the epiphany is not going to do you any more than the epiphany. To have the epiphany all the way in and breathe and let it come all the way. Wait a minute. What I think I understand about myself is what I think and believe that I know about myself, the vast majority of which is hidden from me, by me, much of which is bound up in feelings that I don't want to feel. So actually the last thing in the world I would ever fucking want is to understand myself. I want to be fucking present.
Mm-hmm.
You think those are the same thing?
Yes.
Well, yeah, part of you does.
Presence. I feel they're the same thing.
That's why you're suffering.
Dun, dun, dun.
Do you remember the session Me? Bridget, do you remember that session? The Me session? Have you seen it?
Me?
Yeah. It's not
yes.
clear.
Yes.
Okay. So is the Me session, is it already shared
No,
in this program somewhere? Does anybody know? Who's the record?
Yes.
You sure? I don't know if it is or not. If somebody will, as you're watching this replay, somebody who actually knows where, because some of you we've communicated.
I saved it.
You saved it.
I saved it on my YouTube, and in my watch later, go back and watch it. Yes.
Okay. I could say to you right now what I said on that session. I could. Or you could go watch that session and I will say it to you then. And it's on your watch later. And it's later now than it was when you made that message.
Okay.
When you watch that,
okay.
Bridget?
Yes.
Calm down, slow down, breathe deeper. There you are. Do you use any caffeine, Bridget? I'm not catching you. I'm asking a question. You can't. Do you snort it?
Yes, I live for my coffee, and I'm not giving it up. Don't tell me I'm stuck in hell forever and forever condemned to suffer. Well, you know, I have to say this. I do a lot of work every morning because sometimes, especially lately, I just want to punch your little tiny motherfucking ass out. I don't know why you piss me completely the fuck off, but it's mostly when you do the dismissal about rape thing. And I'm like, spoken like a motherfucker who has never been raped.
Thank you for that.
I'm always honest, motherfucker. If nothing else, I am straight up direct honest. Most people don't like it, but oh well. You're lying
to yourself. You're lying to yourself every second, Bridget.
About everything?
Basically. So you can call that honest if it feels good. Has anyone ever, just for the record now, has anyone ever heard me be dismissive towards rape?
Yes, I hear you when you say, that didn't exist. That didn't happen. Motherfucker, spoken like a man who's never been raped.
Hang on, Bridget.
I speak for all, my feelings come, no, I'm going to finish this.
Okay.
Because you never let me finish this.
I've never, hey,
that's
stop.
I'm not going
to hear that. I'm not going to hear that shit. I'm not going to hear that shit.
Exactly.
I am not going to hear that shit. I'm not going to welcome that shit. I welcome you.
I hear you.
I welcome you.
And I want to be like that when I grow up. So I hear you. But I don't know why the fuck it takes a fight for me to understand a point. But I don't know. I think that's why I relate to Esther a lot.
Okay, so now that you've expressed that, the majority doesn't, being in the majority doesn't mean somebody's right or not. I just want to, everyone on here has watched as much or more of my videos and been on as much or more sessions as you have. And I'm asking a question of everyone
I'm the new
else.
guy still.
Huh?
I'm still the new guy.
Well,
I'm
okay.
still the novice.
I would say that would be true to some extent of all of us. I'm wanting to ask a question here though, so that you can see the response. Has anyone other than Bridget ever heard me speak about rape and things like that? Has anyone ever heard me speak on those topics and talk about rape and people bringing up rapes and things like that? Anybody has? Everybody has? Okay. Have you ever, in all the times I've ever spoken about rape, did you ever perceive that I was speaking dismissively of it? Okay.
By saying it never happened is dismissive.
Well, that's interesting that you're not noticing that you're the only one here who has made that conclusion that you know
but
that.
But you say that's contradictory. I am the only one here. Remember, you taught that.
Yeah.
There's no one here but me. And when I was 2, I believed that. I came here going, wow, what if all this is imaginary and I'm just making it all up? When I was 2 years old, I had that feeling and thought.
Okay.
So I know. But I need information and I don't understand why. And the original question was, what reflection? So I'm here in this environment where I live. I can't grasp the reflection. It's everything that's between me and everything that I want.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. If you want my help, you're gonna have to wait a minute, because that's how I play. You said you can't grasp the reflection. Truer words have never been uttered. Truer words have never been uttered. You can't grasp.
Told you I'm honest.
You would do well. You would do well, Bridget, to actually listen. You will be served if you actually listen. In order to do that, you're going to have to calm down. And you're going to have to breathe yourself into a peaceful place, or you can't even hear what I'm fucking saying. Or what you're thinking.
How do I do that?
I have this technique that I use. I call it breathing in through the nose.
Breathing.
And out through the mouth. And getting it into a cyclical place where all the systems begin to calm down. Now, someone who lives for coffee is going to value the endless anxiety that keeps them on edge and unable to hear what's being repetitively said to them.
I can't tap my heart while breathing because it'll cause a heart attack.
Wow, you're even fighting what they're typing, not just what I'm saying.
Yeah, because I don't want to hear anything. I want to hear the truth, and all I hear is emotions and experiences. And oh my God, it's so wonderful. Is it? For you, is it? Yeah, there's a lot of actual proof. And yes, I have just tipped the iceberg, but I'm still waiting for the money to roll in because, motherfucker, I need a one-on-one session.
I wouldn't do a one-on-one session with you right now for anything.
I knew it. I just knew it.
But
I'll break your chair.
But not for the reason. I weigh
250 pounds. I might break your chair.
I'm gonna silence.
Second, I have been playing at this, but I want to get serious. I want the experience. I want the freedom. So that's why this is coming out. Forgive me, it's not personal. It just is.
You're going to have to, like, pre-kindergarten step for every one of us, wherever we are. The first step is to calm down And if you're living for coffee, you're not going to. So anything else that I say is a waste of your time and mine.
I see. So before I can master your teachings, I have to give up coffee.
I didn't never say anything about you mastering my teachings. I was wanting to help you learn how to be calm and breathe and enjoy your life.
So before I can grasp what you're teaching, I have to give up coffee.
Did anyone hear me say those words?
Are you there?
Are you there? Did anyone hear me say?
I'm asking you. I'm not asking anyone. I'm asking you, Brian.
Right, but you're not actually listening to what I say. So you're asking me, but you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Trying to.
How do you try to listen? How do you? I don't understand trying to listen. You either listening or you ain't. If you throw your ear at me, I'm gonna freak out. So don't even do that shit.
I'm listening. I have been for 2 years.
I see tremendous evidence that you haven't, or that you haven't to the extent perhaps that you think.
That's where I'm at.
All right. So if you're listening and working with me, then there's the potential benefit for you. If I'm communicating with you and you're not really listening and you're fighting and combating and accusing me of shit, there might still be benefit in it for everybody else. The minute that I perceive there isn't, I'll just mute you or kick you off the fucking call.
Cool.
And it's 100% out of my love for you and everybody else that's on the call. So if I say living for coffee, you turn it into, now just watch this, because you've been doing this in every part of your life, in every fucking relationship in your life, especially with yourself. So if I say, as long as you're living for coffee, this is just one micro example. As long as you're living for coffee, you ain't going to be able to ask the question that you want to ask, and you're not going to be able to hear fully. You're not going to be able to create the life you want of being calm and at peace and effective while you're living for coffee. But you didn't hear me say that. You heard something like, you're saying I would have to stop coffee forever and burn all the coffee fields in my past and future in order to be good enough for you, Brian. That is not what I said, honey.
That's how you made me feel.
I'm telling you now. I'm going to mute you here. I'm going to mute you in a second here. If you don't slow down and breathe, and you can say whatever you want to say about it. And
you almost said it. If I don't shut up, yeah, go ahead.
No, I actually.
You almost said it. You said if you don't
A more beautiful, pure question has never been asked, Rex. How is this for me? Choosing presence. Breathing in a way that facilitates getting to our center. Being able to hold our center, not with effort, not with hard work, just When we're centered, we're in our center. Consistently, we can be consistently in our center. And we can be hearing what's actually said. We can even be present enough that we're hearing what's intended. And we can hear whether what's being said is clearly harmonizing with what's intended or not in ourselves and others. When we're already on edge, picture this. I haven't brought this picture out for a while. I want to offer a picture, Bridget, to you and everyone else of where we can get to. And I'm going to propose that it's where you've been. I'm going to propose that. I'm going to suggest the possibility that you actually know differently than much of what you said, and that you know I'm coming purely from loving intention with everything I'm saying and doing here, despite whatever else is coming up. I trust that. Imagine you wanted to change a light bulb in a lamp on your wall. And it was 11 feet high. And you're 5 feet tall. And you have a 4-foot ladder. The lamp bulb is 11 feet up. And you're going to reach a maximum of maybe 9 feet. You and the ladder. It's not tall enough to get you where you want to get. And now imagine you put it 3 feet too far to the right or left. Now, imagine having to pee really, 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 really bad, like not going to make it and don't want to pee on this floor, but oh shit, it's like, whoa, okay. And you stand on that ladder 3 feet too far to the right or 3 feet too far to the left of your target. And it's a couple feet short of what you need, and you're desperately trying to change the bulb. You're not going to be the most balanced, effective. Now imagine someone coming up to you who you really love a lot, and they're really important to you, and they say, we've got to talk right now. While you're on the ladder, it's too short, too far to the left or right, having to pee extremely bad. And you're late. And you had 17 cups of coffee. And they say, we've got to talk right now. And you start to say, but I got to pee, wait. And they say, we got to talk right now. I'm sure you'll be at your absolute highest functionality of presence, listening, understanding. My perception right now, Bridget, is that your degree of hearing what I'm saying is about where someone's hearing of what I'm actually saying would be under the circumstances that I just offered. On a ladder that's way too short, way too far to the left or right. You could spin this easily into an insult about your height. You've proven that in the last 15 minutes, like unbelievably well. That was a joke that I really would love for you to get later. Not that you don't get it, but you might actually appreciate that at some point. When you're already on edge, your aim might not always be at its best. When you're already on your edge and nervous and having to pee and feeling stressed and leaning imbalancedly, your aim might not be at its absolute best. In other words, there might be other circumstances under which you would do a more skilled job of whatever you were targeting to do. Does that make sense to anyone? Okay. I don't know if you noticed, Bridget, but the first question that I asked, and everybody, I'm probably talking to you. The first question I asked after you attempted to attack me, criticize me, accuse me of saying things I didn't say, saying things that I said that I didn't actually fucking say, and turning things that I said into the most deleteriously derogatory things I didn't fucking say. The first question I asked was, do you do much caffeine? That was the first question I asked. To which you didn't just give me, well, I do a little bit on occasion, or I do a lot, or no, you said, I live for coffee, Brian. How could you have possibly been more on target with the first fucking question you asked, Brian, when you were attempting to understand so you could help me? And instead of hearing what I was offering, you took it as me attacking your coffee. So there's a feeling of perceived attack, Bridget, that I'm offering to you is perceived only. And that perception of attack has been consistent enough that it's more of a preparation for attack in the next second, at least as much or more than it is a perception of the attack in the past. When that's the case, it's like being on a ladder that's too short, too far to the left or right, trying to do an important task that you want to do when you have to pee and you're over caffeinated and you're already stressed and worried and something important comes up. How many of us have been doing things in our lives that guarantee that we're always on edge in some way? Do we always interact with the highest understanding and presence and love and harmony to affect what we want in our relationships under those circumstances? Anybody ever? You see that, Bridget? You didn't see it? All right, then I'm going to recommend you watch the replay strongly, breathing slower and deeper, and perhaps with a little less coffee in your system that day. There's something I highly recommend, and not from a medical perspective. I've talked about it before. Calm, C-A-L-M. It's a magnesium supplement that's really high absorbability. It's just a powder, and there's a few different flavors, all of which taste different degrees of weird to me, although I don't really care how it tastes. I care about the effect it has. And you dissolve it, and if you dissolve it in warm water, it actually activates the magnesium even more. It's really simple. A little bit of warm water, a little bit of calm magnesium. I probably do almost 3 times the recommended dose, and I do it frequently. When you absorb, when you take in more magnesium than your body needs, it's so non-toxic that you're just going to piss or crap it out, basically. It's the #1 most depleted mineral, in my understanding, across humanity. The #1 most depleted mineral. And it's ultra key to being able to relax, to calm down, especially in the face of stimulants, caffeine, which is, among other things, depleting calcium and magnesium in the body and hindering its absorption, creating a constant state of stress and potential panic and edginess where we don't hear what the people around us are saying. And not every magnesium form is good. You're absolutely right about that. And not every form of magnesium is as absorbable by everybody else. So you could try citrate and whatever else. Rosemary said the session we had right after the mission again, so late June, was on safety. I recommend watching it. So do I. And I'll bet you have. But if you're watching a session on safety 8 times while you're chasing yourself around the room with a knife, you might not get as much out of it as you would otherwise. All right, I came to this session, committed to do the session, having promised I would. It's been a couple weeks, and I came to it planning to be really short and get straight to my nap. And we're about 2.5 hours in. And I actually did a session with Julio the hour right before this, literally to the moment. And then John came on for a few minutes. Coffee causes inflammation in the brain and elsewhere. Calm is excellent. That's from Karen, and I agree. Wow, Julio said best session ever. You know, well, this was different. And I don't know what the same would be. Because I don't understand anything. And the day I realized that wanting to understand anything would keep me from realizing I already am everything, I was able to calm down a bit more. Was able to hear a little more. When I quit trying to understand myself, when I quit trying to understand anything, I stopped trying to do something that is utterly nonsensical and impossible. And as a tidbit, let me drop one last little tiny insignificant thing in. And I touched this a moment ago. When you said the phrase, I can't grasp reflection, you have absolutely no fucking idea, Bridget, with all respect, because you didn't know what the hell you were saying or who was saying or where you were, the place you were speaking from. And yet no truer words have ever been said. You can't grasp reflection. And that's what you've been trying to do. In Buddhism, there's a question. Can the single hand grasp itself? Try. Everybody try so you can look like a fucking idiot. Because you try it once and you okay, I'm going to try that again. Can the hand grasp itself? Of course not. And how many times have I joked about, listen, you said something, Bridget, that's so incredibly valuable and it's so profound, and you meant to. You just had no conscious idea you were doing it. You meant to. It's fucking amazing. What a gift to everybody. I can't grasp reflection. You're so right. So if you were to walk up to the mirror and look in the mirror and you see a frown and you don't like the fucking frown and you try to grasp reflection, so you can turn the frown into a smile. After like 0.3 seconds, you're a fucktard. Because at first, you didn't know you couldn't grab reflection. You go, oh, this doesn't work, so you stop. If someone was to keep trying to do that, they'd be crazy, like us motherfuckers have been. Still trying to change the reflection. And when you're always braced against the scary bad things in the reflection, you hear them saying shit they ain't saying that's detrimental and mean to you. And if you're living for coffee, you're dying. And the great news is, I wouldn't give a shit what word you put after for. If you're living for something, you're dying. When your life is so fucking empty that you're living for whiskey, you're dying. When your life is so empty that you're living for coffee, you're dying. And you're probably hanging around with a bunch of other motherfuckers who say the same stupid phrase and compliment themselves. And oh, we all love coffee. I've got my coffee T-shirt. I've got my coffee mug. It's a mug. It's not just for coffee. It's got on the outside, coffee is good. It's a coffee. It's a pro coffee mug. And ain't no problem with coffee, hon. I'm not knocking coffee. When you're living for sex, you're dying. When you're living for the next Star Wars movie, it sounds like you're going to be disappointed. But that's a different topic. I didn't want to go down that road, but I did anyway. Damn, how does he do that shit? You ever notice that? It's as simple as calming down, Bridget. As it ever was, it's as simple as calming down. First. Because until you calm down and get centered, you'll realize to move the ladder And oh, wait, it's got this little hinge. I can actually extend it 3 more feet. I didn't even notice because I was desperately trying to. Damn, that's good. Boom. And I'm out of here. Aloha, and I love you. And I don't think I dismissed nothing.